a juice box.
I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
All right, thank you for that. Welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast and around the world on American Forces Radio Network. And if you're watching, TuneIn app, iHeartRadio app, Stitcher app, Twitch.tv, we got a little high-def webcam. My guest here, Aries Spears, stand-up comedian. He's going to be at Cobb's Comedy Club. He has 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. And good to see you. It's been over 5 years since you've been
Oh, man, I didn't remember being here.
Yeah, I made a big impression on you.
Well, no.
I'm just playing. You go to 100 different press
Yeah,
events.
I roamed the halls, and then it all started coming back to me.
What's it like when, because I think not everybody can do stand-up, but some guys and gals will do it for a year or 2 years, and they kind of fizzle out. Or
Because they stink. They stink.
That's just what it is, huh?
Yeah, they stink.
It's funny.
It's entertainment is the entertainment industry is the Studio 54 of the game. And everybody's on that other side of that velvet rope trying to get in.
Right.
And everybody ain't worthy of getting over.
It's funny because I quote Mark Norman a lot. He's one of my favorite comedians. And he says when people say, how did he get a Netflix special? Why didn't I get mine? And he goes, because you're no good.
Well, there's that might be true, but there's also politics involved in that. So
I wish like Comedy Central has politics going on there.
yeah, it all does. The whole business just is, it political. The stew is a couple cups of political, 3/4 tablespoons of BS, and a whole lot of, other crap.
It is weird now because, like, when David Spade had Lights Out on Comedy Central, he's like, I'm not doing politics. It's just, it seems like everything now is politics. We're just
Right.
going to make fun of people on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's such a target-rich environment with this president right now.
Yeah, I mean, it writes itself. So, between the Bush years and now the Trump years, comedy's been kind to a lot of comedians.
Well, I'm sure you're writing good jokes when Obama's 8 years.
Obama really didn't give us material.
Yeah.
He was like the Sidney Poitier of presidents. He came along at the right time, and he was the right guy, and eloquent and charismatic and good looking, and so I'd love to have him back though.
I was so naive. I kind of thought once we had him, we would kind of continue on that vein and have another guy like that.
Oh, there'll never be another guy like that. There'll never be another guy like that. He was everything right. I got a man crush on Obama. I don't mean to turn off certain listeners if he ain't your cup of tea, but, given what we have now, we got Biff from Back to the Future in the White House now.
That's pretty good. Well, it's like, I think it was Aziz Ansari saying that he goes, when George W. there was in office, he said, I thought for sure this guy was a dildo, but now he looks like Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I mean, compared to this guy, man, I'd take the Bush years back too.
Yeah, so the one thing, too, I love about your career is you got started when you were a teenager.
Yes.
And I always like to use this example. When I was 14 with my friends, we thought we were hella funny, but we weren't going to be comedians. When did you I'm going to keep going?
I knew as a young lad, I always wanted to be famous.
And your mom was in show business.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, still is. She's a jazz and blues singer. So I always knew I wanted to be famous. I just didn't know how I would go about it. And I thought I was going to be heavyweight champion of the world, but then you got to exercise and eat right. So that didn't pan out. And then I thought I wanted to be a rapper. And then until I found out that wasn't my thing. And then, but comedy has always been something near and dear to my soul. From my dad getting me hooked on all those movies from, Man, Tam Moreland and Step and Fetch It and Abbott and Costello. And
Which Way Is Up?
Yeah, and all those great movies between Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby. And I just always watched comedy, and I always felt it and loved it. And of course, Eddie Murphy is what drove it home back in the 80s on SNL.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it, what is it, and this might be a tough question, but Bill Cosby, because I'm 54, and he was so iconic.
Yeah.
And those albums we would listen to, no one had that tempo and the timing that he had, and he'd lead you down a long road for a nice punchline.
Yeah.
But now with everything that's going on, and he's in the pokey, is it still the kind of thing like where you can look at a guy and say, look, I'm not going to vilify him because he meant so much to me, and I know what he did was bad. Is that hard sometimes?
Well, I mean, you got to separate the legacy from the person.
Yeah.
Personally, the legacy is still intact. what he accomplished and what he meant is still intact. I talk about Trump on stage, and then I bring up it bleeds me into the Bill Cosby thing a little bit, and I still say that what the Cosby Show did for Black America can never be overstated. He brought that attention that needed to be brought to the country to go, look, not all black people live like good times. There are well-to-do black people with mothers and fathers in the home and a family unit that are successful. So that doesn't change any of that. If one of my R. Kelly jams comes on, I'm bobbing my head. But I know what he did.
Right.
So if I can separate the urine from the man, we good to go.
R. Kelly's doo-doo butter, as
Yeah,
Chappelle
baby.
said.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. We're with Aries Spears, by the way. He's at Cobb's tonight and tomorrow. Where I grew up in Richmond, which is predominantly African American, but I was in the Richmond Hills, and so my black friends on my street, their dads were doctors and lawyers and professors at Cal, but we also had kids who got bussed in, and I always thought it was interesting for my black friends from my neighborhood, and then meeting the kids who were getting bussed in, and they didn't really mesh well together for a while. It took a bit because
one's from the those are two different worlds, be it as it may that they're both black. Those are two different cultures in a sense. One of my favorite ESPN sports documentaries, if you call it that, was the Fab Five, in which Jalen Rose talks about not liking Grant Hill because he had a father in the home, and he had, he came from a well-to-do environment. He couldn't relate to that, being a kid from Detroit who grew up in the ghetto. So, that does exist. There's a little bit of a rivalry there. Might not need to have it or shouldn't be, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to keep getting cerebral here, by the way. A lot of people of mixed race say they don't fit in with either group. And it's funny, speaking of sports, Dak Prescott, the Cowboys quarterback, said, I go to my white family, fit in, with my black family, fit in. I don't know what they're talking about. It just depends on the individual.
Yeah. I got to imagine that's a tough world to grow up in. Because, especially as a young person, you're always looking to have an identity. And, having an identity is important. So when you come from two different worlds like that, you get confused as to which one you belong in. That's a tough thing to navigate, man.
I come from the East Bay, the Oakland, Richmond area, and so you come to San Francisco, and they like to think they're more sophisticated, and it's like whatever. But do you get people remind you? Are you more of a Jersey guy or a Manhattan guy?
I'm a New York guy. I grew up in the city, Hell's Kitchen area.
Oh, okay.
So and then I moved out to Jersey for my middle school, high school years. So I'm more of a New York. Jersey is like the side piece to New York. New York is the main wife.
It's funny because you grow up here in California and you see Jersey Shore, or Sopranos, or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, I was in Manhattan, and I was going to drive to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
And I went up Manhattan, went over the GWB, and here's this beautiful stay with farms and all these nice little towns. And everybody makes you think it's just the shore or AC. That's like the whole state.
No. Some beautiful parts to Jersey. So I was fortunate enough to do both. I loved growing up in Jersey, but also, man, there's nothing like Manhattan, man. It's just the city itself is a celebrity. So, it's just great energy.
It's a weird thing because I've said this before on the air, but there are certain cities, London, Paris.
London's wonderful.
Yeah, but when I'm there, I feel pumped. I kind of feel rock stars. I'm in Manhattan right now.
Yeah.
I'm midtown.
There's certain parts of San Francisco that remind me of New York. Just the energy, the busyness, some of the decor. But yeah, I love it, man. There's nothing like it.
It's funny. I have a caller who calls me all the time from Hell's Kitchen. So a little shout out to Charlie out there if you're listening right now. Charlie in Hell's Kitchen. And I just love that name.
Hell's
It's
Kitchen.
like in England or London you go to Cheapside.
I never heard that.
Or Mud Chute. It's just these old names makes you like, oh, Hell's Kitchen. That must be the worst place in the world.
But it's not.
No, it's good stuff. So, you got Cobb's tonight.
Yes,
you got two shows. You got two shows tomorrow. I think a lot of us remember you from Mad TV and Bobby Lee, who's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
How much did you work with Bobby on that show?
Not too much. I did a couple things with him here and there, but I didn't get to work with him a whole heck of a lot.
It's funny because like that show, I mean, it still resonates big time to this day.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, sometimes people come up to me and go, "Man, when I was a kid," and they're in their 20s, and it makes me feel a little old.
Yeah.
But they were like, "Yeah, I was a kid when I used to sneak and watch you and stuff like that." So, I'll take it.
Good stuff. We got another segment here with Aries Spears. He's at Cobb's. Come on back.
I don't even recognize myself anymore.
I'm really worried about him. His addiction. I haven't seen him like this. Ever.
Hey, look, I never wanted to start using. I knew the drill, but I was out of options.
I just want to tell him it's not your fault. There are people out there who can help. People who have felt your pain. They know what you're going through.
This has to stop. I'm losing everything. Everyone.
You've been strong your whole life. You can do this, but you have to reach out for help.
It's time. I can do this.
Addiction is a disease, and diseases need treatment.
Call Quit Drugs 321 now at 800-338-6906. 800-338-6906. That's 800-338-6906. Paid for by the Detox and Treatment Helpline.
Excuse me, Captain. This is your wake-up call from the new TrackPhone Wireless.
What's that now?
What if you had to fly this plane while sitting back in the cabin?
I wouldn't have any control.
Well, that's what it's like going with some wireless companies, but TrackPhone Wireless gives you control. Get unlimited talk and text on America's best 4G LTE network starting at $20 a month, no contract, plus unlimited carryover data with active service.
That's cool, but how'd you get in my cockpit?
This is your wake-up call, people. The new TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
O'Reilly. Save big during O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day sale. We have great deals on socket sets, impact wrenches, and more. Need a new battery? Right now, get up to a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about elite rehab placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tittle can usually be found at He Baby Mama House.
Welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast, around the world on American Forces Radio Network. Aries Spears is with us, stand-up comedian and actor. He's at Cobb's, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows Saturday down here on Columbus Street in North Beach. It's funny, we were just talking in the break about, you've done a lot of TV and a lot